So one thing is that the website name is changing. The website name has been Park Music Beauty, and we decided to revert it to Beautiful Music in the Park because that is the actual name of the organization.
Yeah.
And when people write checks, they write it to Beautiful Music in the Park. So we changed the domain name. And this project started 2 years ago, and it really has developed in an amazing way. I started organizing this quintet with piano, 3 cellos, and violin. Actually, last year it was 2 cellos, 2 violins, and piano. I just wanted to make as big a splash as possible in the park. I really wanted to draw more people into that space and help them to see how beautiful it is there, to be able to sit and listen to music. It's this remarkable discovery, I feel like, that I've made, and it makes me want to share it far and wide. So the main strategy this year was to really build on the success of last year and have not just the quintet, but several other musicians to try being in that space and see kind of what worked, because we've had sort of a model of developing audiences for each of the musicians and trying to find musicians that would attract an audience. And so we had the quintet come in for probably 6 or 7 weekend concerts. We had a gypsy jazz guitar player, a gypsy jazz duo with guitar and violin, a gypsy jazz trio. We had Isla Cantor, who sang children's songs, some Brazilian music and meditative flute music. We tried just a whole bunch of different things. And Esther Platt played violin. We had Kathleen Strom last year, but she wasn't able to make it this year. So I would say the most successful performer in terms of being supported by the tips that just come on site was Esther. She did an amazing job. I want to say the things that I learned because, in a way, this whole thing has been a big experiment of mine, and that is how I roll. I just do experiments. I mean, how I have always rolled as an artist, especially over the last 15 years, is to try things out and see what kinds of things work and then make various kinds of adjustments and adaptations and improve what I'm doing. So one of the things that I had to focus in on when I was thinking about next year is that the real purpose of Beautiful Music in the Park at this point in time for me is to have this phenomena of lovely music that you can hear when you enter the park and you can sit and listen to it go on beyond my time in the park, because whatever number of seasons I'm able to keep playing it's a finite number. I don't know what that amount is. And one thing I haven't really talked about too much is the fact that my hands are feeling overworked. They're kind of a little bit wearing out from doing consistently 2 hours a day playing for so many years, 5 days a week. And so it's a rather poignant thing because the cello is my oldest relationship, like to be aware of the fact that I might not be able to play at the level that I want to play at on into the future forever it's a really hard thing for me to come to terms with. But I'm really working with it. And so the idea that I have as a focus for next year is to start actually doing a search for cellists, young cellists, who might want to come here and play. And I have in mind to do sort of a competition, to put the word out to music schools all over the country and develop a package for someone who would want to come for 2 weeks or a month to try this out. That would be good compensation for them and give them a solid chance to figure out if maybe this would be something they'd want to do on a more ongoing basis. So once again, I'm operating on a theory, which it just may not turn out to be true, that there's anyone else in the world who wants to do what I do. I don't know whether that, I don't know whether I will find that person, but it could even turn out that we create a sustainable program where 3 or 4 different cellists and or violinists come here every year and play for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, and then somebody else comes and they play. And that is all the mission now of Beautiful Music in the Park. And to a very large degree, what we will need to be doing is developing a team that can shepherd that project into the next few years. Because simultaneously, I am going to need to be not putting my full-time effort into making all that happen. I will be continuing to be an advocate and a spokesperson and kind of drive the project in as much time as I have, but it's going to require more legwork from more people to be able to bring this to fruition next year. And it'll take a certain amount of money, but we have found that we have been very successful at raising money. If people can see the vision that this is, a way to lay a foundation for a future of beautiful music in the park at Lithia Park, then, we should be able to raise the money we need. But what we're going to try to do just over the next about 3 weeks is raise $6,000 to just get this winter campaign started, to start doing the research, to find ways to get the word out to young cellists, and to develop what kind of compensation package they're going to need in order to feel comfortable making the trip. We're thinking about having local people perhaps host these young musicians. So we have to develop a network of people who might be interested in having, a really fantastic musician in their home for a couple weeks or 3 weeks or a month or something. So there's a whole development aspect that has to happen, and then we'll need to do more fundraising after the beginning of the year, but we just want to raise that, chunk of money to be able to focus on putting the whole program together so that we can start getting the word out to the whole country that there's this beautiful opportunity. If you're a young cellist, I want to focus on cellists. People seem to love the cellists more than, even more than the violinists, although we've had good violinists. And so that's the main aim that we're going to do. So I put it like this. We want to do a national search for young cellists that can come for a limited period of time to experience what it's like to be the cellist in the park. And we want to develop a stronger team of volunteers who want to help make this happen.